Care Committee decided that this was the perfect opportunity for all of us to learn more about what is happening right out here in our secret, sacred garden paradise just to the left of the labyrinth, just to the right of the parking lot. If you haven't been out there already, you definitely want to get out there and see what's going on. In your bulletin, you're going to find an invitation to give of yourselves, heart, spirit, mind, and yes, with your pocketbooks as well. But if you haven't had a chance to walk in the garden, to pray for the garden, those are also ways to contribute to its well-being. So attune your heart as we learn more about this magnificent gift that the butterflies are in our world and for our church.
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot, a pink boutique, a cheap hotel, and a swinging hot spot. Oh, but don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh, hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, but leave the butterflies and the bees now, please. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I say they paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Well, when was the last time you saw a monarch butterfly? I have been walking now for months looking. I have a map. Look at this map. This map says, follow these lines, you'll get it. I've been everywhere. I don't see trees. I don't see pollinators. I see nothing. So then I thought maybe I wasn't dressed correctly. So I got my orange hat because they're orange. And they still didn't come. So then I thought, a flower. I need a flower on my hat. So I have been walking. And then I saw these people right here at this, I don't know what this is. This isn't a hotel here, I can tell. Some of you were here a long time. I saw people here, they were wearing these shirts. And it says something like, every day is Earth Day. You know, people say that. People say that. They really get excited, but do they do it? So, I kept walking, and I thought, I need help. I need support. I need somebody who knows more than I know. And anyway, my feet are tired. So I'm going to stop. Oh, wait. Any of you know, do you remember Mrs. Frizzle from your school days? Yeah. Do you think back that far? Mrs. Frizzle was a science teacher who knew so much about everything. So maybe you could help me call her. Mrs. Frizzle. Okay, all together. Mrs. Frizzle. Mrs. Frizzle.
Bit of a bumpy ride all the way from the Vatican to Sonoma. What with the Earth's surface heating up, global warming, and winds increasing. Mighty well done, my monarchs. Mighty well done. And as I recall the Pope's words, which are still swirling in my head, I think he has a message for all of us relative to those monarchs.
Never have we so hurt and mistreated our common home as we have in the past 200 years. What kind of a world do we want to leave to those who come behind us, to our children now growing, and to their children? Well, all is not lost. Human beings, while capable of the worst, are also capable of rising above themselves and choosing again what is good and making a new start. As stewards of God's creation, God calls us to make the earth a beautiful garden paradise.
Which brings me to this remarkable congregation. I understand you've been looking for monarch butterflies. They're a bit hard to find these days as they're on the verge of extinction. But I have good news. And the good news is that here in this church, we have a hard-working, very dedicated Earth Care Committee, which has worked assiduously to get us to the point of being recognized as a creation justice church, honoring that covenant God has for not only human beings, but for all creatures. That means that we are each one committed to healing, defending, protecting, restoring God's planet, and remediating damage done. To that end, I understand that this committee and many members here in this supportive community have helped to put up that paradise. It's a paradise of wonderful pollinator plants and milkweed to invite our pollinator butterfly friends, the monarchs, and all pollinators which need our help to this very sacred spot. I think we're in need of addressing the collaborators in this project too, and they are from the Valley of the Moon Garden Club and from the California State Park Vallejo home property. Two of the most wonderful individuals I believe can be found either in the garden where they are planting plants, or the last time I saw the wonderful individual who works like a Trojan in the Laugh House and in the Vallejo home greenhouse, wrapping up our tender little milkweed seedlings in netting. She was so tangled, I was afraid she would never be able to find her way home. But alas, she's found her way to our church. May I introduce to you Bonnie Brown from the Valley of the Moon Garden Club, and Bonnie Lynn, from the Vallejo home property. Welcome, ladies.
Lynn, looks like you had a challenging day with the greenhouse. What's going on?
Mosquito netting sure is hard to handle, but it's the only thing that saved our milkweed seedlings from being eaten by bugs.
Yeah. So we had tiny little seedlings. Lynn and I, last summer, went out and said, we got to do something for these monarchs. So Lynn knew that there were 2 batches of narrow leaf milkweed, which are the best ones for our area. And so she mows all the fields. She's out there on her big old tractor, John Deere, mowing all the fields for the 4th of July. And she's mowing around the milkweed patches so they can keep living. So we went out there, and you have to get these seeds right at the right time, because if they pop open, they have these very little things that carry them everywhere. So we had to save them, so we're out there every day picking the seed pods. So then we got them in the greenhouse, and Lynn has a greenhouse up here, and a beautiful lath house, which I hope someday we can have a tour and go up there and see. So she got them planted, and they sprouted, and of course there's an insect eating them. So she ran down to Friedman's, got a mosquito netting, got tangled up in it, and covered them up, so they're safe now. So she had a whole sprinkler system on the controller 4 times a day, got them day and night, got them up. So now they're planted out in the General Vallejo field, right next to our garden out there that's been planted. So Lynn, how many plants you got?
Around 6 flats or over 100 plants.
About 4 inches tall, and they're working to survive out there in that field with all those grasses. Because the state parks will not let us dig up those old grasses. We just have to, but they're weeds, milkweed. They're tough. They're gonna make it. So now they're out in the field, and the church's Earth Care Committee has been so wonderful and supportive. They let us have this plot out here to do a pollinator and nectar garden. So we had generous donations from 2 growers who gave us over $650 in donations of wholesale cost of plants for the pollinator perennials, and we planted wildflowers. So now, once the monarchs lay their eggs, they get to be little caterpillars, then they get to be the beautiful chrysalis, and then the monarch comes out of that. And so they can come right over here and eat and drink. And we got them all set up. So, Lynn, why don't you say a little bit how that garden was created?
First we had to find a spot, the right spot for it, and then we cleared it all out by tilling it around 3 times, and we pulled all the grass pods out, and it was all done by volunteers, and raked it all out, and leveled it out, and added 3 yards of topsoil, and then we planted the seeds, and ready.
Earth Care Committee was out there pulling those heavy clods out of the native weeds, I'll have to say, and heavy grasses. And Lynn was out there with the rototiller 3 times, that big old thing. So we got it rototilled up. If you'd love to come, we'd love to have you come out there and see the garden now. It's flowering. Yay! We got there. So I want to make sure, and the purpose of this garden is we hope to inspire everyone that wants to create their own gardens with the right pollinator plants and nectar plants, and so that we can have almost a super highway throughout Sonoma Valley for the pollinators, because they're finding that because of monoculture, which we have in our valley, you know which crop that is, and the vineyards and all, they're beautiful, but it doesn't provide the diversity of plants for the pollinators, for the hummingbirds, for the butterflies, for the native bees and the honeybees. And so they're finding that our gardens, our little home gardens, are the thing that are saving them. And this is throughout the whole country. Even in the cities, they're finding that this is what's saving the pollinators, the hummingbirds and butterflies and all. So we're hoping that this will inspire people all throughout our valley to create their own gardens. Even if you just have 2 pots on your patio or your deck, that's going to do it. If enough of us do that. So this is hopefully the inspiration for all of that. Now, we need to let you know that there's an opportunity coming up. Once the little eggs, which are they're white, they're the size of a pinhead. And once we find those out there, hopefully, in the field, we need to bring them in, because guess who likes to eat caterpillars? The birds. So these are fostering tents, little incubators, and we'll bring the stem of plants in here, and you can take these home and watch the magic happen. It goes from a little tiny egg to a caterpillar you can hardly see. And then it grows up into this probably inch-long, beautiful striped caterpillar. Then that attaches itself to the leaf or somewhere. Sometimes it's on the zipper. You never know where you'll find it. They hang there. It's like a fat pea pod, and it looks like it has diamonds all the way around the top. So it's just amazing. And then after a few weeks, it makes me cry. Think about it. It's so beautiful what nature does. And then magically, the wings come out, and here's this beautiful monarch butterfly. It has a long proboscis that it plays with when it first comes out because it doesn't know what to do with it. It's flying all over the place, and that's how they dip in there to get their nectar. So you can see all of this if you decide you'd like to do this, and if there's a mailing list back there, if you think you might like to be involved, then we'll let you know. We won't give away your email address, honest. We'll only send you updates on what's happening in the garden, and if you'd like to join in that. So we have the next challenge. Lynn?
The deer. The deer are coming down from the hills and they're eating our plants. So right now we're using a deer repellent. Ugh. Which is not toxic. It's not toxic and it's organic and it's a deer repellent, but it doesn't work real well. It doesn't smell on me. No one comes near me. I use it, but you need a more permanent solution to this. Oh, for the 4th of July?
Yeah. So we need to put up a temporary fence for the 4th of July to protect the garden. So don't be afraid when you see this orange, awful-looking snow fence around the garden out here. It's just to keep them from getting trampled, and we may need to leave those up until we get our permanent fence, which perhaps maybe Miss Frizzle and her friends can help us to figure out how to do that. It'll be a beautiful fence. We actually have a master craftsman who works up at the state parks who's willing to do beautiful gates, metal gates, and a huge, big old butterfly out of an art piece sculpted. So there's lots to do. It'll be wood posts with wire strung around, really pretty wiring. It'll be a permanent fence eventually. That's our challenge now. We've done most everything with donations and volunteer labor. So, Miss Frizzle, what to do?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for this moment of mission. And thank you because it's our one and only chance to let you know that this is going to be a one-time request. This is not going anywhere, and once we get it done, it's done, and it becomes a model for the rest of the community. But we do need help with the fencing. We would love to have an informational kiosk made of wood and glass, a glass case that we can put information in for people to see, so that, for instance, people like Susan who come to visit will have the information they're seeking on butterflies. We have an interest in finding materials or somebody who has the skill to make the kiosk here. The materials would be wood and glass. We also are looking for anyone who might have scraps of metal so that our a sculptor can help us with the design showing the life cycle of the butterfly, which would teach children a little bit about that miracle that happens when they transform from egg to adult butterfly. We have people, of course, who are going to be interested in helping to foster our butterflies when they get here, and we're very enthusiastic about that. So there are many different ways that you can help, but I want to say thank you to this wonderful Earth Care Committee, to this wonderful, remarkable congregation, and every one of you who have put body, soul, and heart into that garden. Thank you to the Property and Finance Committee, and thank you to this wonderful team. Thank you to Corinne for her wonderful leadership and vision. We appreciate you. I want to thank our wonderful ambassadors who are sitting on the floor in the back, Denise and Ellis Jane, who are going to be, I think, handing out some of their love
They
bugs.
stuck together. We're making a new batch.
Oh, well, we'll have to come back another time for another adventure, perhaps a garden party. But we do have butterfly kisses for all of you in the basket in the back. And we have little wildflower seed balls for you to take home too, but they're not for eating. They're for casting into the, wherever the soil might be conducive to the seeds within the balls growing. We have information for you to take home on the back table. And in the back of your pews, your chairs, or in the pockets in front of you, there is also, you might find a little envelope which you might put to good use. So for all of that, we thank you tremendously for helping us to create a paradise, a very sacred paradise here for all the pollinators. And I think the Pope has some words in closing for us.
I dare say that not only has the Vatican taken notice of this effort, but I dare to believe that our Father, our Creator, also is smiling this morning. God, our Father, we thank you for the courage, the wisdom, and the downright hard work that so many people in this congregation continue to give to many different causes, and now to one that has the opportunity of reversing the rush toward extinction. And when people say, what can one person do? You should all say, come see. So, bless you all, and may this project thrive and become an example to the community and to the world of what people can do when they open their eyes and get to work, and also dig into their wallets and help